Behind the Badge, brought to you by Big O Tires.
Witnessing trauma on the job. For police and firefighters, it's something they simply come to expect. But what they don't always talk about is the emotional toll from seeing it day after day. I sat down with a few first responders who shared how it affects them in today's Behind the Badge. Police officers and firefighters often see some of the worst life has to offer. Witnessing someone burned in a fire, killed in a car crash, or caught in the middle of a deadly shooting. For most first responders, these traumatic events can be hard to forget.
I think every firefighter can point to a handful of calls that really stick with them for their entire career.
I can think of dozens of calls. Dozens of calls.
Ogden police officer Robert Evans says he still vividly remembers the day his partner, Jack Elmer, was hit and killed by a drunk driver nearly 35 years ago.
I could feel his broken neck in the palm of my hand. I got home and still had his blood on my face. Didn't want to wash it off because it was him. That's one.
That emotional toll is more prevalent than you'd think.
It's meant to function.
Therapist Ken Allen, who exclusively treats trauma in first responders, says the average police officer sees 7 of these critical incidents a week. For firefighters, it climbs to 20 or 22 in a 2 or 3 day shift.
Well, I had a police officer in here just a little while ago. He came in and I think his appointment was at 11. And he come in and I said, first thing, how's your day been? He says, well, I've stood over 3 dead bodies today. So far, how does that sound?
Allen says over the course of a responder's career, if not addressed, the stress from those traumatic calls quickly adds up.
When you're looking at 21, 22 critical incidents in a 2-day period, they rarely get any time to recoup and drop their anxiety down.
Part of the problem has been the stigma attached to officers who talk about it.
Everyone knew that you're going to have calls bother you, but if you let it out, you were perceived to be weak.
Before Evans sought help, the unresolved traumas led to severe depression and survivor guilt.
I think I was a good guy, but nobody knew how dark of a place I was working from to try to be a good guy.
Salt Lake City firefighter Sean Mumity says for him, it contributed to lack of sleep and low testosterone.
Everything is affected by that. You're basically walking around as a depressed zombie.
The president of Utah's Fraternal Order of Police says he also had sleepless nights, and it nearly cost him his marriage before he reached out for help.
You know, I was about to be another statistic of a single dad, you know, probably living in a trailer or wherever or whatever my wife would let me keep in the divorce.
The most serious consequence is suicide. According to ABC News, in 2019, 228 police officers took their own lives, a new record in the U.S. And something those among Utah's top police leadership know needs significant attention.
If you take a look at our budget this past year for Unified Police Department, our top priority was officer wellness.
To get responders the wellness they need, those ABC4 News talked to inside the industry say there's work to do. Now, this isn't to say that many firefighters and police aren't happy with their jobs. And the mentality in the industry has made strides in addressing trauma. Next week on Behind the Badge, I'll show you some of the work that fire and police agencies are doing to reverse the emotional toll and what they say still needs to be done.